Hey guys, this is RyGuyGaming here today, back with another episode of Making AET. And so today we are going to start off with drawing the FBI guy, which is probably the easiest character we're going to draw today. Even though, as you can see, the lines between the pixels are still really blurry, which is really annoying when it comes to pixel drawings. I really wish that I could find like some actual like low-res image of the ET Atari games, or game, I guess, but I couldn't find anything anywhere besides, just images off of Google Images. So this is what I have to work with, just because of the way images are stored on the internet and the way compression works and everything. The fine line between the pixels are blurred as crap, so it's hard to tell whether something was intended to be part of the background or whether it was intended to actually be a part of the character. But anyways, so you saw me taking pixel measurements, and now I'm trying to create a canvas with a rough estimate of how big it should be. And I just wanted to say that this series, I probably will only be able to do it on Saturdays like today, because that's really the only time that I have a full day to do something like this. Any other day I have too much school or anything, and so really Saturdays are the best day to get these out, so I apologize that they're only 1 week apart. Now, I did try to do the whole 10 FPS thing for this one, but for some reason, I don't know about you, it doesn't look a whole lot different to me when it's sped up. I don't know what's up with that. I feel like it should look a lot choppier. I mean, obviously my quicker mouse movements are pretty choppy, but everything else looks pretty average, especially you see when I draw. I mean, I was drawing pretty slowly, so I could definitely see me drawing like 1 pixel in 1/10 of a second. So it was definite. Here I'm resizing the canvas, and I did it wrong the first time, but it's definitely, I'm definitely gonna have to find another way to slow these down, or I mean speed these up, because just reducing the FPS didn't seem to help much. I mean, it might be a little bit quicker, but it doesn't seem to be the case. I'm just gonna have to look, because I can increase the speed in my editor, but I'm gonna have to look to see if there's a way to increase my speed beyond just the simple way. Maybe they have some kind of plugin or something I could use. But anyways, so the problem with the human characters is that they have a lot of holes in them, and it's hard to kind of like draw around those holes. And I realize what they're trying to do is the holes are supposed to be like cutouts for like their arms and stuff. It's not as easy to see on this guy as it is on the scientist, but it's just kind of weird how they decided to make I don't know why they just didn't make the lines black instead of see-through, but whatever. So as you can see here, I'm still trying to count and get the holes in the right place and get the colors at least okay. I think mine end up looking a little more colorful than the original, but that's okay, I don't mind. And during this, I tried to pull it up in Paint to see if it would do the same kind of like pixel blend thing, but it did end up doing the same thing, and I couldn't zoom in as close as I wanted to, so yeah, I just closed right out of Microsoft Paint. And I've actually edited out a lot of this, but during this I was like looking up different reference images and everything, and at one point I actually had to stop to do some taxes stuff, because that's coming up soon. So I took a break, but I edited that out. You can actually, in the raw footage, you can actually see like my printer program pop up and stuff, because I was printing off some forms and stuff. But anyways, so yeah, just finishing the drawing here. I believe, I can't I wasn't really watching. I do end up having to redraw him once. I don't think this is it. I really hope not, but yeah, it looks like I'm about to the top, because at one point you can see here, it's just so hard to get like the pixels, because do I count those faded pixels? Do I not? And so it's just kind of annoying to try to figure out what the heck is going on. And so I'm trying to count his body, because I feel like I did it wrong, which I end up saying, yeah, I think I did this wrong, which means that I have to move everything down, which is really annoying. And so I end up moving everything down like a pixel or two. I can't remember how many down I moved them, but I end up just having to delete everything, which is really unfortunate here. And I was thinking like that maybe for this I could do a little bit more live episodes where I skip around a lot if I can't figure out how to make my recordings go faster. Because I mean, like, this is sped up and this is a little slow. Like, it's just, yeah, I wish it was a little faster. So maybe what I'll do next week, if I do this next week, is I will do segmented live recordings of my progress. So like, I'll be like, oh, hey, look, here's the progress I made on drawing this guy, or like, here's the progress I made on doing this script, but like, whatever. But like I've said a lot of times before, the art part is easily my least favorite part of video game making. Like, anytime I think like, hey, I want to make a game, and then I think about all the stuff I have to draw and all the stuff I would have to model if I knew how to model, and it really is kind of deterring to me. I would much rather just script a game. There, I finished the FBIGuy, and now I'm trying to do the scientist. And holy cow, I could not find a good image of the scientist anywhere on the internet, not the image. What the heck am I saying? He took me, seriously, like an hour to draw, maybe 2. He just took forever to find a good picture I could copy off of. I ended up going to the emulator to see if I could get pictures off of there. And so basically at this point I'm just kind of guessing, and the scientist has a lot of like floating gaps between his body parts, and like he's even more fuzzy than the FBI guy was, so I don't know what's supposed to be a pixel and what isn't. His feet aren't attached to his body. He has holes in him everywhere, which if you look, it's supposed to be like his arm is moving. It's more obvious if you see his walking animation, which I am not looking forward to doing animations, because that means I'm gonna have to redraw all these suckers at least twice, which sucks, because I'm gonna have to draw him once like this and then the other one where he's standing like straight up. So I think animation will be probably the last thing I do, if I even do it, to be honest with you. I did animating once. So real quick before I go into that, I found this on the internet. Somebody took those like bead things and made pictures of all the characters with them. You can see like the scientist and the FBI guy and E.T. and the boy who looks like he has an Asian ponytail. No offense. I'm sorry. But anyways, yeah, so I tried to go off this for a minute, but then I was looking at it and I'm like, what the heck, this looks nothing like the scientist is supposed to look like. I don't know what the heck the guy was smoking when he like put this together, but it doesn't really look anything like the scientist. I mean, kind of, I guess. Excuse me, I guess he was just constrained by the size of his like little bead canvas or whatever the heck that thing is. But I think here I'm still trying to copy it. But anyways, like, yeah, like I was saying before, I've tried to do animation before. I think I have an animation test on my channel, and then I have a Minecraft animation that I did with Minimator. So if you haven't seen either of those, you can go check them out, but they are not good. I think the Batman one was okay, but it took me like 2 hours, and most of that was trying to get the skin to rig onto the Minecraft not rig, but what's it called, mesh? No, it's called the most of the time I was trying to get the texture from the skin to map onto the 3D model of Steve, and so that took a long time. And then on top of that, freaking modeling every single little keyframe. The nice thing that Minimator had was, though, is it would fill in a lot of the gaps for you. Like if you wanted a walking animation, you really just had to put your start point, your end point, and then I think you could do something to where you could say, like, look, I want him to walk from here to here, and then it would animate the walking motion for you, which was really nice. But of course, more advanced tools like Blender don't have stuff like that, because they figure you're advanced enough to do all that on your own, which you probably should be if you're going to be working with something like Blender or Maya. I don't know, maybe they have built-in animations. But anyways, here I think this is where I kind of decided that the bead guy was crap, and so I just am clicking back and forth. I edited a lot of parts out where I'm like getting different images and staring at them for 20 minutes, and like, oh my gosh, this scientist was so awful. But as you can see, I'm making slow progress. Right now, I'm mostly copying the straight up one, but I'm also looking at the side, the one that's kind of walking a little. I think every character has 3 frames for their walking animation, but I'm not 100% sure. It could be 4, but I know it's more than 2. It's like 3 to 4 animation frames per walking, or for their walking, which kind of sucks. I think ET only might have 2. I don't know. I haven't been paying attention because, like I said, animation is the last thing on my mind. But here I actually went into the emulator to try to get a better image of him, and I really liked this one. This one was really easy to see, like especially since I had that hole there to reference stuff. So it was really easy to see like how big to make everything and where the holes needed to be. And so this is where I really started picking up the pace when it came to drawing the scientist, is once I took this picture from the emulator. This one helped me out a ton. I don't think I would have been able to draw the scientist if I didn't take this picture, to be honest with you. So it was a really nice thing that I did end up taking this picture. And so, yeah, as you can see here, I'm working on making the little holes in his body for his sleeve, or whatever you want to call it. And I probably could have did this faster, but for some reason I just have this feeling like I need to do it right. I don't know why. Like, I'm normally not this careful, especially with drawing, because like I said, I'm awful at drawing. So I feel like normally I would just kind of rush through this. I don't know if it's because I'm doing it on camera that I want it to look good or what, but for some reason I'm doing this really painstakingly, like detailed, at least for me. I know you guys probably look at this like you're posting your pixel art on the like Reddit forums and getting like all the upvotes, but like this is really only my 4th pixel art, I think, because I drew the dragons from PC Adventure, which was just the same dragon twice recolored. Oh, and then I drew the bird, but that was easy as crap. And then I drew E.T., and then I drew the FBI guy, and then I drew this guy. So I guess this is my 5th pixel art drawing, and you guys probably just like do this for fun, you know. I don't know, I just think it's funny. Like sometimes if you go on videos where people do like really hard things, like if you go on like a Dark Souls video and it's like ONG +7 soul level 1 run, there's like always people in the comments like, yeah, I did this when I was like 3 years old and stuff, and like there's always like overpowered people. Crap. So here I am getting importing the assets. I'm making sure they scale right with the, you know, units to pixel, whatever. I'm setting their compression thing so that it's right. But yeah, they were kind of being weird, so I had to drop them in one at a time. But there they are, and they look pretty good next to ET. I think they're the right height. So I decided to create a new script. Today I just make the controller for FBIGuy, and it's not 100% complete. At this point, I realized that I hated the default Unity template, so I decided to make my own. I've done this before. Because I don't know what they coded Unity on, or at least these templates. It was like a Mac or Linux, but the line endings are different and the tabbing is awful, and I hate the brace style they use. So like I just had to change my default C# template so that it would be to my liking. I did this last time I had Unity. I haven't done it on this computer yet, but I always do this any other time besides, I guess, this time. And so as you can see, that just looks a lot nicer in the notepad, and when I open up a new script, now it will look like this instead of the trash that it looked like before. And now here I ran into another problem. For some reason, I don't know if this is a Unity problem, a Visual Studios problem, both, but for some reason when you create a new script in Unity and you try to edit it with Visual Studio, which is my preferred IDE, even though on slower computers it takes a lot longer to open than MonoDevelop, but MonoDevelop crashes like every other second for me. But anyway, so I was having problem inheriting mono behavior for my classes, or at least for this class, which was really frustrating. I tried to like delete the script and reload it. I tried like a billion things. Finally, I found a forum post that was like, yeah, you have to go in and install this for the Visual Studios, but no. Here I try to restart it. The thing that worked for me, and I probably do it right here, is you have to click on the script that isn't working in the Explorer window, and then you hit that blue refresh button. I just clicked it up top, and wait a couple seconds, and boom, all of a sudden your script is just fine. Like it inherits mono behavior just fine, and the IntelliSense works fine now. So that's just an annoying bug with something that has to be worked out. But anyways, so now I am starting on getting the following to work for the FBIGuy. That is all I end up being able to finish in this episode, but it's definitely better than it was before. So right now I am looking at my other game to remember how I did the enemies, because I knew they had collision boxes in them, obviously. I just couldn't remember if I gave them rigid bodies, which I did. So my bad guys have rigid bodies and collision boxes. So here I'm referencing the rigid body of my FBIGuy, and I am also defining his speed. And as you can see, I didn't mention it, but I have a variable for the player. And so I decided to make the FBIGuy speed a little under half of ET's. It's probably more like 40%. I don't remember the exact numbers, and my preview is too fuzzy to see what they are. But here I was trying to remember how to get distance. Obviously distance is easy, it's just the Pythagorean's theorem, but I could not remember how to do that code wise, because first of all I couldn't remember how to make vector 3's, and then second of all I couldn't remember all like the fancy stuff behind it. So it took me a second to remember, but eventually I do remember how to do it. So what I end up usually doing is I create a vector 3, which I don't do right here, obviously. So maybe once I end up doing it, I will let you know how to do it. But yeah, it took me a second to figure this out. But basically, I guess I'll just tell you. What you do is you create a vector 3, and then you subtract the vectors, like the positions, from each other. So as you can see, I subtracted the FBIGuy's position from the player, and then I use that new vector to get the magnitude, which is just the hypotenuse of that vector, which is the distance. So there you go. That float distance to player now stores the magnitude of the vector, or the hypotenuse, or the distance. And here I was trying to remember how to compare floats, because in like C++ I was taught you use like absolute value and just compare it and stuff, but then I remembered I was just trying to figure out if it was greater than or less than anyways, so I just did it like this. Really, if you're testing for equality, you should never put if float is equal to float. Here I forgot to add the gravity onto the FBI guy, so I had to turn that back on, and for some reason he still wouldn't work, so I was like, what the heck? So I went in and I added all these another print statement, and then once I added in the print statement, I remembered, oh yeah, I'm an idiot. I didn't even, here I try it one more time. But eventually, hopefully now, yeah, I remember, oh yeah, I'm an idiot. I didn't even attach the script to the FBI guy. But now that I attach it, you can see that the output is getting printed and stuff, but I didn't remember to, it worked. Yeah, it worked. So it was printing the in range or whatever. So here I was trying to make my code a little more streamlined, but it wasn't working, so I put it back the way it was, which I'm glad I did, because I ended up using that vector again. I was trying to get rid of the vector to get rid of a line of code, because I don't know. Here I was looking how to move the FBI guy towards ET from my old game, and it's just vector 3.move towards, and then you need a starting vector, an ending vector, and the delta, which is just the speed of your character. So like I do my speed times the whole delta time thing or whatever. And so as you can see here, now he follows ET around as long as he is in a 10 unit range, which is like 160 pixels. And then I realized when I fixed my code that I accidentally put the print statement back in, so yeah, I had to fix that. But yeah, so, and then the last thing I did in this episode was I made it so that the FBI guy would flip when he was, chasing ET one way or the other. Normally he faces the way he normally faces, which I can't remember which way that is. I think it's to the right. Maybe to the left, but then when ET is on his right, he'll flip over and face right, and so that's what I'm doing here. It didn't take that long. I ended up mixing it up though and flipping him the wrong way, so I just had to swap the greater than and equal to sign. But anyways guys, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Leave any suggestions in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye.